The Greatest Knight Who Ever Lived. Part 1. The Hostage. The fire burns low tonight. The years have stolen much from me. Strength leaves the body eventually, no matter how many battles a man survives. Old wounds ache when the weather changes, and friends disappear one by one until their names exist only in memory. Yet some things never fade. Some memories cling to a man like scars burned into his soul. When I close my eyes, I am no longer an old knight sitting beside a warm fire. I am a frightened boy once again, only 5 years old, sitting alone in a cold tent while grown men decide whether I will live long enough to see the morning. The rain hammered the camp outside so hard, it sounded like thousands of arrows striking leather shields. Wind rattled the wooden stakes holding the tents upright, while horses snorted nervously in the darkness. Somewhere nearby, men laughed around a fire. Somewhere else, another man shouted after losing too much money in a game of dice. I sat beneath a rough wool blanket trying to appear brave, but my hands trembled every time footsteps approached. The guards believed I was asleep. They spoke freely outside my tent because they assumed a child would not understand their words. They were wrong. Children hear far more than adults realize. I heard every conversation, every threat, and every mention of my name. One man said my father had broken the agreement. Another replied that hostages existed for exactly that reason. A third calmly suggested that I should be executed before sunrise. Their voices never rose. There was no anger in their words. That frightened me most of all. They spoke about my death the same way farmers discuss weather. At that age, I knew very little about the world. I did not understand politics. I knew nothing of kings or alliances. I could not have explained why noblemen fought wars over castles and pieces of land. What I did understand was fear. I understood the knot twisting inside my stomach every time someone looked at me. I understood the silence that followed when officers noticed I was nearby. Most importantly, I understood that my life depended entirely upon decisions being made by men who did not know me and did not care whether I lived or died. England was tearing itself apart during those years. Powerful lords chose sides in a brutal civil war, while armies marched endlessly across the countryside. Villages burned, families disappeared, castles changed hands through siege and betrayal. My father, John Marshal, was one of the men caught in that struggle. He was intelligent, stubborn, and feared by his enemies. During one negotiation, he offered me as a hostage to guarantee his word. If he honored the agreement, I would be returned safely. If he failed, everyone understood the consequences. At first, my captivity seemed harmless enough. The soldiers treated me surprisingly well. Some shared food with me. Others told stories beside the campfire. One knight even carved a small wooden horse and gave it to me as a gift. For a few brief days, I almost forgot I was a prisoner. Everything changed when news arrived that my father had broken his promise. The mood throughout the camp shifted instantly. Laughter vanished. Conversation stopped when I approached. Men who had once smiled at me now studied me with cold expressions. I was no longer a child. I was a problem. One afternoon, I wandered too close to a gathering of officers and overheard them discussing possible punishments. One suggested hanging me. Another proposed blinding me. A third laughed and said they should load me into a siege engine and launch me over the walls of my father's castle. The others laughed with him. I remember standing frozen beside a wagon, unable to move, unable even to breathe. Until that moment, death had been something distant, something that happened in stories told by priests. Suddenly it stood directly in front of me. Messengers rode from the camp carrying a final demand: honor the agreement or lose your son. Everyone waited for my father's answer. When it finally arrived, the reaction stunned even the hardest soldiers. According to the men around me, my father declared that he still possessed the hammer and anvil needed to make better sons. I did not fully understand those words then, but I understand them now. Whether he truly meant them or believed the enemy would never harm me, I cannot say. What I know is that no child ever forgets hearing such a thing. Yet fate had other plans. For reasons I still cannot explain, the commanders spared my life. Perhaps they saw courage in a frightened boy trying not to cry. Perhaps politics made my execution inconvenient. Perhaps God simply was not finished with me. Whatever the reason, I survived. The experience changed me forever. Fear became determination. Determination became ambition. As I grew older, the comforts of childhood disappeared and were replaced by the harsh realities of noble training. Knighthood was not earned through birth alone. A title meant little if a man could not fight. My days began before sunrise and ended after dark. I hauled water, cleaned stables, maintained equipment, and cared for horses worth fortunes. Every day brought new lessons. I learned how to ride, how to fall, how to strike with a sword, and how to defend myself with a shield. Bruises covered my body. My fingers were broken more than once. I lost teeth. I bled. Yet I loved every challenge. Every hardship felt like another step away from the frightened hostage I once was. As the years passed, my body grew stronger and my confidence grew with it. I discovered that I enjoyed competition, not the harmless games played by children, but genuine contests where victory had meaning. That opportunity eventually carried me across the Channel into France, where tournaments attracted ambitious knights from every corner of Europe. Many people imagine medieval tournaments as colourful festivals filled with cheering crowds and harmless entertainment. The truth was far more violent. Hundreds of armoured horsemen charged across open fields at full speed. Lances shattered. Men were trampled beneath hooves. Fortunes changed hands in a single afternoon. Success brought wealth, while failure often brought injury or ruin. The first time I entered the lists, my heart pounded harder than it ever had before. Sunlight flashed across polished armour, while banners snapped in the wind overhead. Around me stood experienced warriors from noble families throughout Europe. Many possessed better equipment and greater wealth than I did. None of that mattered once the fighting began. The signal sounded, horses surged forward, and the field erupted into chaos. I still remember the feeling of striking an opponent and sending him crashing from his saddle. The crowd roared. Adrenaline flooded my body. In that moment, I knew exactly what I wanted from life. Tournament followed tournament. Victory followed victory. Captured knights paid ransoms, and those ransoms allowed me to purchase stronger horses and better armor. My reputation spread quickly. Men who had never met me knew my name. Some admired me, others hated me. Many hoped never to face me across a tournament field. I learned how to read opponents before they attacked, how to recognize fear, and how to exploit hesitation. More importantly, I learned confidence. Not arrogance, but confidence earned through experience and hard work. Eventually, my growing reputation attracted the attention of royalty. I entered the service of Henry the Young King, son of King Henry II of England. The prince possessed charm, wealth, and status, yet he lacked true authority because his father still controlled the kingdom. Despite that frustration, he maintained a magnificent court filled with nobles, warriors, entertainers, and ambitious young men seeking opportunity. For a knight like me, it was the perfect place to rise. The prince admired courage and rewarded loyalty. Before long, we developed a strong bond built upon mutual respect. Together, we traveled across Europe, attending tournaments and building reputations that spread from England to France. Those years felt endless. Crowds gathered wherever we arrived. Victories came frequently. Gold filled our purses. Life seemed destined to continue forever. Yet while we celebrated success, darker events unfolded beyond the tournament fields. Rivalries within the royal family deepened. Nobles formed secret alliances. Political tensions spread across the kingdom like sparks drifting through dry grass. Eventually, those sparks would ignite into open war. I did not know it then, but the battles ahead would test me in ways no tournament ever could. I would ride through burning villages, witness terrible bloodshed, and carry a dying prince across hostile territory, while enemies hunted us from every direction. The lessons of true knighthood were still ahead of me, and they would be written not in glory, but in blood.